Greetings, fellow Facebookers. I have switched my gaming chair around with my computer chair, and two things. One, it's more comfortable over here, and two, it improves the feng shui of the apartment, made it easier to walk in. And three, if I'm watching YouTube videos. For some people, I'm like, did you get a new chair? Technically, yes. Good fun evening, peoples of the Facebooks. So I'm riding my bike home, and the coaster brake decides to pop out of place while I'm riding home. Now, thankfully, I got it to coast, and I got it home safely into the apartment as quietly as possible. That's most definitely what's up. However, I'm not too thrilled about the coaster brake popping out of place. Thankfully, I just sold a batch of wands, which are being shipped as we speak. So it's a mild expense. I can take it to the shop in a couple of hours, and the shop I got it from has got me covered, yo. I'll take it to Mountain Sports where I got it, and they're like, yeah, my coaster brake popped out of place. I'd be like, we got you. I was just there earlier today to tighten my handlebars because they were sliding back on me when I was riding. I adjusted them to a perfect cruising height, and they tightened it up for me so the handlebars are nice and tight. And the cruiser is running phenomenally. On the way home, it decides, okay, the coaster brake is going to pop out of place. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Some of you will be like, did he get a new chair? Technically, yes, I did. But I switched the gaming chair with the computer chair because this huge-ass chair makes it hard to move through that general area. The gaming chair is a bit smaller. So when I go to film GTA 5 videos, I'm leaning forward to make sure I can see what I'm doing. And I got the camera super close and level with the screen before I hit start. It'll avoid it recording sideways. But that's not going to be for a couple of hours yet, so it was a nice enough day for a cruise. I thought, why not take my bike out for a ride? Perfect throne for our king. Oh, well, thank you, Thomas Satin, for that compliment. Nothing against my other computer chair that I had, but it doesn't really, it's not as solid as this one. I've done a lot of cheap repairs to it to make it function as a chair. And it slides around easier, which will make it more convenient for gaming. I can slide closer to the TV where the controller is charging. So it makes more fucking sense. I got the idea to try it, so I lugged this humongous chair over here and then switched the chairs around, and it opened up that space much nicer, made it look neater, and you know, this is a very comfortable chair for watching videos and just chilling out and bullshitting on camera, you know what I'm saying? If I'm gaming on GTA 5, I'm gonna be up close and making sure I'm not fucking up or anything, you know? So, despite the fact that my coaster brake goes out on my bike while riding home, I make the best of it. At least it was able to pedal, but I was very finicky about hitting that brake because the coaster brake was loose, and that little bit that the coaster brake rides on smacks the spoke, and I could dent the spoke up. I might have to opt for a wire brake instead of a coaster brake, which a squeeze type brake, a handlebar brake would be a bit more expensive, but you know, there's a lesser chance of it. You know, you get a nice basic black lever style brake, and yeah, I've been customizing my bike for a minute. I've respray painted it my favorite colors. I've added a bell and 2 horns to it. I got a lock for it to keep it safe when I'm cruising. And it's just relaxing to go for a ride on a nice sunny day and hang out with friends for a bit, you know. And then on the last ride home, it decides, okay, I'm gonna fucking break. Like, sometimes life has a more simpler and more practical solution. And as soon as I switch the chairs around, this gaming chair is now a computer chair, and the computer chair is now a gaming chair. Because the other chair is easier to slide around in. This one is just kind of stationary. If you're sliding around gaming, getting into it, you know what I'm saying? It's easier if the one with wheels slides in front of the TV. That way, I can move it around, make sure that I get the camera angle just right when I go to do my GTA 5 videos for YouTube. Granted, I don't have... Well, I do have a camera I hook up to my computer that I don't use because I use the computer's built-in camera. So I wonder if I can use the camera I plug in, the extra camera I plug in, the extra HD camera that I got for my videos. I don't know. Like, this is some space age shit, man. I found out a simple enough way to record a Grand Theft Auto 5 video. It's level the phone so the camera's horizontal on the right side up, and press record when it's leaning against something so that it ain't gonna move when you're getting into it, you know. I tried starting the video holding it, and I thought I had it level, and it wasn't quite level. That thing is rather sensitive. Little things like that would kind of tick me off, and I'm like, nah, man, I gotta work on my temper a little bit. There are bigger things to get pissed off at. Case in point, the coaster brake. Even that didn't piss me off. I'm like, dude, this is a sweet ass bike. Coaster brake goes out, and I managed to get home a lot quicker. At first I thought I'm gonna have to walk this bitch home, fucking for real. But then I got to where I could pedal, but I couldn't use the brake, so I'm using my feet to walk it in some sections, but there you go. I got a flask full of liquor, and I'm thinking to myself, I'll get home quicker if I just figure out a way to get this bike to work. And I'm like, did I seriously fix it? And then nope, as soon as I started slamming on the brake, I didn't really slam on it, but I tapped the brake and I felt the bike stop. And I looked down, and the bar that holds the coaster brake on is pedaling loosely, and I'm like, oh, that can't be good for the spokes. Motherfucker. Out of all the bikes I've had in my entire life, the bike I currently possess is the coolest and best one. I paid a decent amount for it, and it's definitely held the test of time. Let's see, Thomas. Oh, no, wait. Therese Saxton says, Josh, I'm depressed and I'm at work. What should I do? Aww. Well, I want to, first of all, thank Therese Saxton for tuning in to my Facebook Live video. Second of all, I want to take a shot for you while you're at work. My Rick and Morty flask has some cake vodka and vanilla Coke. I want to take a shot for Therese Saxton, and I hope her depression goes away. A circle of healing for her depression. And hopefully things go smoothly for you. If you're depressed and it's a long-ass day at work, I drink for your strength to get through your days. Cheers. Keep in mind, I was drinking a little bit before I rode home, and I wasn't too drunk to ride home. Because being responsible about it, I says to myself, I know my limit. I took one more shot at a homie's house, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? I took one more shot out of my flask, and I cut myself off after I was at the homie's house. Shout out to Patricia and her boyfriend Sam. Thank you for letting me hang out. They were like, "You good to drive home?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm fine." I got the bike down the stairs at their apartment and out the door. Everything's Gucci, and I start pedaling home, and the coaster brake pops out of place. Now, if I hadn't just sold a batch of wands, this would be a very expensive fix. I don't know how expensive it's going to be, but I got some money in my pocket so I can fix it. Also, the wands are being shipped, like I said, so as long as I have a receipt to prove that I went to the bike shop to fix it, then there should be no issue. Because I can foresee, well, what happened to all this money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, first of all, I bought myself a little bit of alcohol to celebrate the booming success of this wonderful business opportunity I have. The first batch of wands sells out in 5 minutes. The second batch sells out in 30 minutes. However, I am going to have to mock up the prices of my crystal scepters because I spent $30 to make that first scepter and sold it for $34. And they charged enough to cover shipping, and that was it. So, yeah, it's my crystal scepters are going to be $54, and the crystal staffs are going to be $104. That might seem a bit expensive, but from now on, they're going to have to be the prices. Now, my basic handheld wands, such as this one right here, which is the one I carry, these are $24. The reason why I charge more for the crystal ones is because they take a lot more to ship. They cost a lot more. Hey Josh, my buddy Kenneth Anger has been having a bad luck. Can you cast him a protection circle? A circle of protection for Jerome Michaels and his friend Kenneth. May they have better luck and a better couple of days. Indeed, I can. You're not the only one having a peculiar night. Miss 3 Saxton was feeling a bit glum and depressed about something, so hopefully her night goes better, and, you know, circle of protection for her as well. Like I said, hopefully he stops feeling so glum, you know. Yeah, not a problem, Jerome. You know what? Here's the thing of it. Being depressed over shit, it happens. It's part of being human. So when I'm single and I'm depressed from being single, I'll do things like make videos, play guitar, make music, make wands, have a couple of drinks, hang out with friends, make videos, that sort of thing, you know. There's things I can do to cope with that depression that are healthy to an extent. And I say an extent because you can't get carried away with drinking. However, my limit is a lot stronger than people give me credit for. And I have enough in my flask to sip on for this video. I'll put the rest of the bottle in the fucking fridge because I don't want to just chug through it, you know what I'm saying? Because that'd be kind of wasteful. It'd get me fucked up, but it'd be wasteful. And it's like, you know, the only reason I charged so little for such a beautiful scepter is because, one, I guess I didn't know any better, and two, I guess now I can say it's at a discount price to as a way of saying thank you to the people who support me in my wand business. And that's why that crystal scepter was offered so cheap, is because, one, I didn't calculate my costs, and two, you know, it was offered at a discount as a way of saying thank you for the support on that store. And thankfully enough, it went to Exhumed Visions, who's been an awesome supporter of me and my channel for years. So, yeah, I know Exhumed Visions is going to be a happy son of a bitch when he gets that wand. But the reason why I sell all the other wands, like the handheld wands, for cheaper is because they don't cost as much to make. I'm not going to reveal exactly how much it costs to make all my wands, but to explain why I'm making my scepters and my staffs that have crystals in them much more expensive. There's a reason why. Because quartz is expensive. Now, even though quartz is expensive, it's real rock coming from Mother Earth, so it produces a better quality wand. You know what I'm saying? Building staves and scepters and crystal wands and regular handheld wands is a way for me to creatively express myself and offer that to the world as something, so you could use it as a work of art, or if you wanted to practice actual magic, you could, or if you're doing cosplay, or if you have a costume and you want a wand, or if you're in a play or a movie and you're like, I need a wand that I can use for a prop. I need something that looks and feels realistic. You call Cobra Crush wands. Yeah. This is a pretty sweet mug, but I don't need to fill it. Just sip on the flask here, the Rick and Morty flask. The same flask. And the last time I had Cobra's Cake, which is a drink that's in here, I poured a mixture in the flask, stuck it in the fridge, and drank the rest of the bottle in like 2 days, and I saved it. And then a couple of days later, Rick and Morty gets renewed for another 70 episodes. I busted the flask out and I chugged that son of a bitch, and I'm like, yeah. And the timing of that could not have been more beautiful. Facebook. So yeah, I'm kind of bummed that my coaster brake popped out, but it's an easy enough fix. I mean, it could be worse, you know. I made it work. I got home safely. I didn't stagger or swerve all over the sidewalk like a dumbass. I had my light turned on. And the way I have my light set up on my bike, if I unhook the certain pieces on it, I can kind of turn it and it turns to the side, and the handlebars hold the light in place. The way I got set up is slick as shit. Yeah. But I suppose while it's in the apartment, I might hit it with some spray paint. Like, I want to cover the light lens with painter's tape while I spray paint the lights. And I'll spray paint the air horn so it fits the theme of the bike more. That'll look slick as shit, YouTube. I'm just saying, the air horn's loud as fuck. And it lets people know, hey, move out of the fucking way. Huge ass bike coming around the corner. Like, no joke, chicks dig that chopper. I'm pulling out of a bar parking lot. This chick comes out. Oh my God, I've seen you around town on that bike all the time. That thing is so cool. Can I take it for a ride? I'm like, yeah, you want to ride around the parking lot? She goes, yeah, sure. I let her try it. She could barely sit on that thing. She gets off. She goes, I'm way too small for this. And her friend who's even smaller, she goes, you gotta try this bike. This thing is so cool. Her friend gets on and gets off. And her friend literally said this. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm too small for this bike. The seat's rubbing my clit. I'm like, I had the biggest shit-eating grin riding my bike home that night. Like, yeah. Fuck Elliot Rogers. This little whiny-ass bitch is whining because he can't get tail, and the dude's driving in sports cars. Hashtag fuck mass shootings. Hashtag fuck suicide. Hashtag that's life sometimes, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there like, goddamn coaster breaker. It's so typical. I'm gonna pull an Archer. Hold on a second. Now here's the thing, it didn't get me laid, but the chicks were totally digging the bike, you know what I'm saying? So even if it didn't get me laid, that's beside the point. Chicks were digging it, that's all that mattered. Yeah. And that's a 3-speed chopper. It's good exercise when the weather is warmer. Keeps your legs nice and toned. Oh, man. Hooey. There's a splash of that left. I'm going to stick this flask in the fridge. Get me some water. It's good to stay hydrated when you drink, Facebook. I legitimately had a fucking sink full of dishes, and I'm like, before I have any fun, I should make sure that make sure that my you know. Now here's the thing of it: if you don't like cleaning, been there, done that. Do a little bit each and every other day. It doesn't get overwhelming, and on top of that, you know what I'm saying? If it doesn't get overwhelming, it's a piece of piss to fucking maintain. You know what I'm saying? And if you like to drink, have a good time, party, but you're responsible about it to a degree where you can clearly say I've been drinking, but, you know, I'm not being stupid about it. I definitely had enough liquor for the evening. My nose is rather stuffed up at the moment, so I want to grab some tissue because the stuffed up nose be a fucking issue. All the phlegm being coughed up from my lungs from smoking that tobacco, but I'll take the risks. So pardon me for 1 second, Facebook, while I step off camera for a second. To be fair, I was celebrating a victorious toast for the awesome fact that my second batch of wands sold out in 30 minutes. I wasn't keeping track. I was just trying to sell them, you know what I'm saying? And one of my fans was like 30 minutes. I had a fan keeping track of it. And there's one fan who bought a wand for him and his buddy. Both of these dudes and dudettes have been fans for a minute. So, you know, people are going to be stoked to get their hands on a Cobra Craft official wand. Yeah. Here's the thing, Swicks and Cool Cobras. While I was at my parents' house, me and my dad were boxing up the wands, I collected a stick to start my next batch. This is a stick for the next crystal scepter being sold with the next batch of wands, which is batch number 3. And all I need is like 9 more sticks after this one, and I'm golden. So as you can clearly see, I've already started collecting canvases to craft. This is making nice enough crystal scepter. It's decent enough size. I'm gonna put the handle down here, and then put the crystal leg up here. You see what I'm saying? It's nice and thick enough that I could do some awesome scepter making with this. Now this scepter will be available for $54 when it hits Etsy. This is the one crazy one in the batch. The other 9 are the basics. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, white and black, black and white. And as you can see, this is a actual stick. When I go to craft Cobra Craft wands, they're made from real sticks. And yeah, there's some bird piss on it, which is kind of gross. People think that's bird poop. No, birds pee white. On interesting fact, but there you go. This is why we have sandpaper now, isn't it? And when I get my clock tower, the way the 4 bell tower shutters are going to be set up, I'll have this giant switch I pull up and down, opens all 4 simultaneously at the same time. And the way the tower sits, it'll have the mesh wiring that'll keep pests and pigeons out of my tower, so I'm not getting bird poop and piss all over my fucking bells. Oh, pigeons are a bell tower's worst nightmare, Facebook. Oh, people who have spent weeks melting and smelting metal to craft and carve a beautifully tuned bell just have fucking rats with wings crap all over it. No. Especially if you got people that want to come over and like chill out in the belfry and like just kind of sit down and like, you know what I'm saying, fucking weed becomes legal in Wyoming. I have that switch down. I build a hot box the belfry because it's so smoky you can't see 48 bells in front of you. Pull that fucking switch up and then watch all the smoke just pile out. People down below would be like outside, Where do you think Josh is? Well, weed's legal in Wyoming, and he's up in his mansion. Still has smoke billowing out of the clock tower. Oh yeah, he's high up in the tower. Treating as high functioning autism. Okay, that was a horrible joke, but I went for it. No, in all seriousness though, if I could get a green card for my Asperger's and cataracts and my ADHD, I'd be fucking set. And not only would I be set, but Wyoming would make some money off of it too. That's the thing of it, you know. Wyoming is a Republican-run state, and Republicans love money. Money talks, bullshit walks. And Colorado's making so much goddamn money off of weed. They could literally throw $1 million to end homelessness, or at least help it in Colorado, just for starters. You know, that's how fucking rich. You know what I'm saying? This magical circle is making everybody, as I affectionately call it, because you pass it around the room and it doesn't fucking matter what belief you come from. You could be Muslim, Catholic, atheist, or a Jew. If you're all there to smoke pot, it ain't gonna fucking matter. You might discuss it amongst yourselves after getting nice and stoned, like, okay, so this is what I believe in, you know what I'm saying? People aren't gonna be like fighting over stupid shit. Now, granted, yes, some people should not drink. Not every person gets violent or overly emotional when they drink. Me, I turn into a fucking smartass. And occasionally I'm blunt as fuck, and that comes out when I'm drunk. So, you know, I gotta watch my setting and what I'm saying, you know, just for the sake of, you know. I don't go looking for a fight unless one comes my way. I don't start shit, I finish shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't take shit from no one. The only fucking shit I take is in the goddamn toilet. If these haters don't like it, they can kiss my Asperger's. The first two wands being sold as quickly as they did, there's definitely an interest in people wanting to buy a handcrafted wand. And as soon as people get their wands and the reviews are out, boom. Second thing, I gotta go to YouTube real quick and subscribe to Kid Behind the Camera. I recently unsubscribed because he found out his mother was into magic, and there are different aspects of magic, just like there are different aspects of, you know, Christianity and what have you. And well, some of the comments he made kind of made me chuckle. He was like, well, what is my mom like, Voldemort or something? And I'm just like, what, you think just because someone practices magic they're like evil like Voldemort? Dude, that's a very stereotypical cliche. I've watched Kid Behind the Camera for so long that YouTube's recommending it, so I'm gonna click on the channel right quick and hit the subscribe button. I unsubscribed because of the ignorant comment towards magic, which is petty and stupid. Now, the reason why I subscribe back to the channel is for Angry Grandpa, so that being said, I'm like, you know, especially when Pickle Boy's a fucking fan of Harry Potter, like, bro, come on. And if you don't think I'm a hardcore fan, a circle of protection for Michael Green and his family against any negativity and drama, any disease. May their lives prosper well. You don't even know YouTube and Facebook. Like, I've been watching Angry Grandpa for years. Angry Grandpa and Kid Behind the Camera, Pickle Boy. I've been watching them cool Cobras for years. And the same day my girlfriend breaks up with me, Angry Grandpa dies. And I'm like, dude, this is some bullshit. It's kind of like when, okay, I'm riding my bike home and the coaster brake decides to say, fuck you, I'm going out. You want to fucking fix it? Take it to the shop and get over it. Before I take it to the shop, it could use a couple cans of paint here and there. And if I cover the fucking flashlight lens before I start attacking the light on my bike with paint, then it won't get on the lens. And then the air horn, which is white and red, doesn't look horrible by any means, but at the same time, you know, it doesn't quite fit the theme of the bike. And if I spray paint anything, I would put my tarp down on the carpet, so that way it drips onto the tarp and not onto the carpet. Yeah. I'll do that shit later. KingCobraJFS was a smoker, and he didn't die. Ironically enough, he didn't die from a smoking-related disease. He died because of an alcohol-related disease. For those of you who know the history of Angry Grandpa, he was an extremely heavy drinker. I bet you Angry Grandpa would put my drinking to shame. He'd be like, boy, that ain't drinking, let me show you something. Just one of those stubborn old fucks that didn't give a shit. You know, and I had and have older relatives like that. Had relatives in my family like that. So I could relate to that, you know. And watching him freak out over stupid shit, like it was like, okay, I freak out over stupid shit. And whether it was real or scripted, it made it somewhat relatable and entertaining, you know what I'm saying, Facebook. So I'm like Pickle Boy, if your mom practices magic, there are different kinds of magic. Not all magic is evil, okay? It depends on the person who casts magic. I'm not trying to dispick... Shit. I'm not trying to just Pickle Boy or nothing, but you take Kid Behind the Camera out of the equation. Now I'll subscribe back to his channel. That'll help his family prosper. Because every subscriber counts, you know. As a YouTuber, I'm like, every subscriber that I get, you know what I'm saying, it helps. And I'm not going to beg for it on YouTube, but I want to keep producing crazy, weird, and awesome content. And then people like it, they don't, you know. This isn't particularly aimed towards Kid Behind the Camera. This is more or less an informative kind of thing. When I say not everybody who uses magic is evil, okay? I'm being serious, like, because there were certain people like myself who are like, you know what? I don't like what ISIS is doing to the world. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like a circle of protection against ISIS's bullshit for the world. And it's such a blunt forward statement that you just put the thought out there. How does magic work, you ask? Let me spark this marvelous smooth. I'm not going to try to pull that cigarette trick I pulled last night. That's a waste of fluid, but when you pull it off right, it's fucking legit. I mastered the art of doing it, but it's difficult to set up. And again, who the fuck am I kidding? It's easier to do with a 100. I had a pack of NXTs earlier that were delicious. But I shared them with some friends who were low on cigarettes because I know how that is. The struggle is real, Facebook. Give back what you want. Now you give back, you know what I'm saying? Like, if the whole world looked like, if the whole world functioned like smokers do, theoretically speaking, it'd be a much better place. Oh, you're out of this, so let me help you. I'll give you some of that, you know. Because when you're out of a cigarette, you see a fellow smoker smoking one, and shit, you don't want to ask. But when you do, they have an extra one, and if they're generous, then yeah, they'll be like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, they pull one out of the back. Oh, dude, awesome. That's how it goes, man. And if the whole fucking world worked like that, is what I'm getting at, Facebook. Oh, your country's out of oil? Shit. Well, my country's got some. Your country needs clean drinking water. Well, shit, my country developed a way to make that so it's not an issue. Solar-powered water filtration system, that kind of thing, where you can just stick it in the ground and it sucks water out of the ground via a crank, like an old school type steampunk well. and it's solar powered with a hemp filter, and that solar power and the hemp filter working together purify the water. And if the filter that purifies the water is made out of hemp cotton, it's biodegradable. And using the sun's energy and hemp cotton to purify water, which it can be done. If there's cars that run on corn ethanol, it can be done. Oh. Yeah, see, it's a hard ass trick to set up, and I broke my cigarette trying to set it up, so yeah, no, fuck it. The fact that I successfully pulled it off on camera on Facebook Live last night was legit shit. You have no idea how hard that trick is to fucking set up. Smoke them if you got them. I went to go buy a pack of NXTs, but they were out, so I ended up getting a pack of Smooth 100s. I actually trying to buy tobacco, so I don't need to buy like a whole shit ton of cigarettes. Because right now, getting my bike is going to be more important. Getting that shit fixed, you know. Kind of hard to ride your bike when the brakes don't work. Just saying. Like, not trying to be overly sarcastic or nothing. So, what's on the agenda for later, which is, of course, dropping my bike off at the shop. Go see if I can do a little bit of wand wood collecting, getting some more wood for my batches of wands. And if I can't do that, then film my GTA 5 video, like I said I was going to for YouTube, which when it doesn't start up right, nothing you can do about it, just delete it and start over. But then when you get sidetracked doing other shit, it is what it is. Moving this big ass chair over here opened up the space in the living room, which made it easier to walk around. So that simplifies your life by making both chairs functionable. Which is exactly my point, Facebook. If you want to make your life functionable, sometimes your first attempt isn't going to be your greatest. Sometimes you got to try and try again. If you're having shitty luck with your attempt, then take a break from it and don't stress it. You know. I mean, I've seen enough chicks respond to me positively that I know women do definitely find me attractive. It's just, you know, you gotta play your cards right. That's all I'm saying. It's a poker face type thing, you know. Gonna be Marlboro Smooth Criminal about that shit, you know. Obscure, shitty cigarette reference, but I went for it. Now, if I have enough money to return the favor of drinking with some friends of mine last weekend, I'll definitely do that. But right now, getting those wands shipped off and getting that bike fixed come first. Those are priorities. I should have enough money in my altogether to do both those things. And if I don't have enough money to drink with my friends over the weekend, it is what it is. You know. But yeah, I had a good time drinking at Frosty's and at the Alibi with my friends. I don't get to go out very often because, you know, it is what it is, but I ain't tripping about it. Mostly it's just getting the money situation figured out, and because I'm autistic, so I'm kind of a hermit sometimes. You ought to be fucking real about it. going out to a couple of, like, one or two bars with a couple of friends. In a way, it was like a bit of a social experiment. And I noticed that the women at the Alibi, Frosty's wasn't as packed as the Alibi. Granted, it was karaoke night, unbeknownst to me, at the Alibi, which is cool. I enjoy singing karaoke. I do that kind of shit on Facebook and YouTube all the time. But I didn't go up and sing. I just enjoyed my friends' company and socialized a bit. And I noticed that the women at that bar definitely responded positively to me. You know what I'm saying? Personal growth doesn't happen overnight. Getting better at guitar doesn't happen overnight. Finding decent companionship in a small ass town doesn't happen overnight. I mean, this is kind of a fucked up way to look at it, all things considered, but in a way it makes sense. If summer happens, another girl's bound to happen. It's not fucked up, it actually makes some decent sense. You know what I'm saying? It is kind of unfortunate that YouTube trolls decide to harass me for having a girl with short hair, as if it fucking matters. As our society is so crude that the idea of a woman having short hair is, you know what I'm saying? Like it fucking matters. She made me happy. That's all that fucking mattered, at least for a moment. But then I got a lot of shit for dating Summer. People around town called me a faggot for dating her. People on social media called me a faggot for dating her just because she had short hair. Meanwhile, I'm laughing my ass off because, one, I don't have a problem with gay men. That's more pussy for me. Two, Summer's into the same shit I'm into, so I had some good chemistry going with her. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck all the haters talking shit. We got good chemistry, and she can't get pregnant. That works out for me, kind of, you know. But she's like, oh, well, you know, it was a combination of my haters harassing her and one of her exes harassing her. You know what I'm saying? And people are saying a lot of fucked up shit. Oh, she's a shitty tattoo artist. I'm like, look, you don't know the full story. I was impatient. She didn't have proper needles. So, of course, it faded. And the knuckles are incredibly hard to tattoo to begin with. So, I was going to get my aunt's knuckles touched up, but the bike repair comes first. You know what I'm saying? That's like my main mode of transportation besides walking. Because right now I don't have a driver's license, and you know, if I'm at a hot rod show showing off my kick-ass car and I have too much to drink, I'm passing out in the back seat. Like I'll smoke a cigarette or whatever and just kind of chill out in my car and then pass out in the back when I'm good and ready. Because fuck all the bullshit. Fuck drinking and driving. Fuck texting and driving. That shit's stupid. Mass shootings are a bitch, but texting while driving is even worse, or just as bad, if not just as worse. As texting and driving, so is drinking and driving. The stupid is the word. Can you describe texting while driving and drinking while driving in one simple sentence, one simple word? Stupid. Here's your sign. And case in point, I'm like, I like to drink and have a good time, but I'm riding a bike home, so I got to be smart and not have too much. And I'm like, all right. I got to a point where I'm like, I'll save some for when I get home, sip on it a little bit, you know, whatever. And the coaster brake decides to pop out of place, and that's just life. It's unpredictable, you know. I've already collected a branch from the crystal scepter that I'm selling. I've already collected a branch for the crystal scepter that I'm selling with my next batch of wands. It's a bit smaller than the first one, which will make it a bit easier to carve. But the price is still going to be the same because supplies to make something like that are Aichi-wawa. Crystal wands are a lot more expensive to make, but I know when Exhumed Visions gets his crystal scepter, his or her crystal scepter, they're going to be very pleased with the product. There's a lot of people who are hyped, and I got the word out on Facebook earlier that they're in the process of being shipped. Casper law states that you have to have a light on your bike when you're driving at night that Even though there's street lights, it lets other cars driving on the street see that light, you know, and then they know, hey, you know. I know the coaster brake needs to be fixed anyway, so it could be a project, in a sense. Hold on a second. I put this giant ass tarp on the floor and put the bike on top of it. I can paint up my bike a bit. So by the time the morning hits, it'll be dry. The 2-way tarp, that will do it. I'm dropping it on my bare toes. I want to set the bike down on this tarp without squashing my feet. There we go. Of course, when you mix Coca-Cola and vodka, you get caffeine and alcohol, so it's a wondrous effect. You gotta be smart about it. Shit. I need to make a trip to Ace Hardware to get some more spray paint, yo. Because I'm out of that shit. I might have to make a glow-in-the-dark wand for my next batch of wands. So I might put like 11 wands in the batch. Instead of doing a clear coat one, I might try doing a glow-in-the-dark one and a clear coat one. What's more money? The third batch will have 11 wands in it. And maybe if it's not too much, I should stick with just doing 10 to 11 per batch. 10 to 11 per batch is reasonable enough. Looks like the air horns first on that paint. I got 2 different shades of green, but no black. You know, I get some more black, I can add it to it if I need to, but I do have a can of black spray paint, I believe, but the nozzle's a little fuckered on it. Yeah, I do have black spray paint, but this is still got a lot in it, but the nozzle's fucked on it. So to make the air horn body black and the red a nice hunter green. Man, I got a gift card from one of my awesome fans, Facebook. I got a gift card from one of my fans for Ace Hardware, so I was going to use that to get more supplies for my wands. Ain't that some cheap ass shit? The nozzle's so fucked on this can, it doesn't want to work. So I don't have to throw this away, but I might have a solution for this. I can use black nail polish for the body of the horn on that air horn, so that way I can get the effect I'm looking for. And then using that nail polish brush, this will make it easier to paint on there. I mean, technically speaking, this will get it to where I want it. I'm gonna make it fit the overall theme of your Facebook. Who the fuck puts nail polish on a bike horn? This weird motherfucker, that's him. Because nail polish seems to dry a bit quicker than spray paint does. Because this is something to do to kill some time while I make a video, I guess. Just talking just doesn't seem like enough. Could be working on something. Making this bike sick as fuck. And once the paint dries on the handle of the horn, I'll have to honk it to get the paint to peel away, but that's not a big deal. I'll do that when it's more appropriate, because it'll probably give it a couple hours to dry, and it's just smart. That's a pretty nice seal for the air horn anyways. The way I sees it. Step over on the other side of the bike here. Yeah, there we go. Now we got a better angle to work with. So make the air horn match the theme of the bike. It's a cheap ass way to customize a bike, but it works. And this air horn's loud as fuck, that's all I care about. Now, because I don't have any black spray paint, this will do just fine for coating the body of it. Let's see, where is that country? No, not that. There it is. That's the green I'm looking for. So we like that while it's drying. Let's have that bowl for that one. Let's see right here. Oh yeah. Okay, Facebook, so I got a little bit of paint on my feet, but it was totally worth it. I repainted the horn section on my bike to match the style of it and touched up a scratch on the side of the bike frame that was not matching like the rest of it. And once the horn is done drying, or the horns, I should say, once the horns are done drying, then I'm going to touch up the light on the bike. But at least now, don't get me wrong, I got this air horn at a dollar store for like $1, you know what I'm saying? I attached it to my bike with some black and green zip ties right on top of the other bike horn, positioned it just right so that when it dries, I have tempted to put a dab of glue on the lid that connects the button to the bulb of it, so that way it never loses compression. Where the fuck's that? Glue. I'll worry about the glue if I need to when that's done drying. But I got this black, green, and silver horn section that produces 2 very large horns. They're not really like so large that it drags the weight of the bike down, but they're large enough to make some fucking noise. One of them that squeezes is pretty loud, but the air horn's the fucking loudest. And this air horn had a red handle, red bulb, and some funky ass white body with like some weird ass picture on it. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't quite match the theme of the bike. Hold on a second. Spray paint to the rescue. Now the bike light itself is orange and blue. That's why I say if I cover the light lens before I go to paint it, I may end up taking the bike light off the bike and then reattaching it. Pretty much, I mean, there's really no fucking sense in moving the bike from the apartment until the work on it that I'm doing for it right now is done. Kind of defeats the purpose. I'll stick this in a safer spot because I'm definitely going to need it if I'm replacing the coaster brake. Get like a nice disc brake and a little squeeze lever. Which having a brake that you squeeze with your hand would probably be a lot smarter because it probably lasts a lot longer. I wouldn't have to worry about popping out of place. Now that reflector got covered in paint, so now I can't even use it. What kind of screws to take? Well, you take the white off so I can paint it later anyways. I need to get that painted on reflector off of it. Just get it off of there because we got this bike light. If I got a bike light, there's really no need for a reflector. Which is covered in paint. God damn it, get off the bitch to use my pliers to snip that because that knife is just not good. Unless I saw through that. Fucking zip tie right there. Yeah, I have to saw through that zip tie. There we go. I think this is the coolest little black light you ever did see. It's pretty easy to attach with zip cords, and it's got a switch on the back. And it comes with, I already have batteries in it, but it takes batteries to power it. And I think he popped the lens out or something. But the reflector is covered in spray paint from repainting the horn section. This thing didn't get any paint on it yet. I'm going to cover that lens. Cover that lens up so I can paint the rest of this device. Of course, now that that one fell off of that. Make it so they match. I could completely yank these pieces off right here on the other two. I could repaint it if I wanted to. And this is just a mild project, if you will, customizing. And of course, I got the window open because the smell of spray paint is. I mean, that's usually what I do when I'm customizing my wands. I'll crack the window open, the tarp down, or a trash can underneath the wand so that the paint drips into the trash can. There we go. Got that zip tie that was tying these two together off. Now I get this rubber piece off right here, and that's good enough for now. I'll paint this light later because I'm also going to get that reflector off of the bike because there's paint all over it. Doesn't reflect light if there's paint all over it. And because of this light anyways, I'm going to make this light the center of focus on the bike instead of the reflector. And the reflector being there, it gets in the way of the light sometimes. I'm just breaking the reflector off and using the plastic it's attached to for the platform for this light. Or whatever, they're just getting the lens off and leaving the plastic on there. Or whatever little bit that's on there that holds the lens on that reflector, so that way this thing has a platform to sit on. It'll make it attaching it after I repaint it easier. I'm going to go a separate YouTube video painting this light, of course, and show you all the progress on the customizing the bike. on a separate video, but this right here is just basic shit. Now I've had the horns on my bike for how long, and this light's been there for ages. Very reliable, but we can make this, you know, more the style of the bike. I literally had a zip tie and a little bit of electrical tape right there to hold that light in place to kind of balance it out. But I tore off the pieces I needed to tear off. So when I go to remount the light on the bike, it'll be mounted a lot more sturdier. This is what happens when I repainted the horns on my bike. That's kind of useless as a reflector, to be honest. Now this little project that I've just embarked on, so far that's what I've got, which I was hoping to avoid that, but fuck it. When you're working on your cruiser, it's totally worth it. As long as the paint's dripping onto, yes it is, excellent. The paint's dripping onto the top, that's what I like to see. And onto the bike as well. Okay, perfect. And here's the funny thing of it, Facebook. When I was pedaling my bike home, I thought that the drawstring on my seat cover had caught in the chain. That wasn't it. I thought maybe a stick might have gotten caught up in the spokes. That wasn't it either. I look and I see the coaster brake is poking out of the side. So more than likely the coaster brake might have snapped. But when you're riding it and that coaster brake is the original coaster brake on it, it's lasted a long ass time. So theoretically, if I'm customizing it, it'd make more sense to get like a squeeze brake for the handlebars put in for the rear wheel. Or maybe something for the front wheel, actually. So I get a disc brake for the front wheel put in. That way, if I want to put like an engine kit on the back wheel, it'll make it easier to install that rear wheel sprocket. Not saying I'm going to put an engine kit on my bike, but now that I think of it, installing a disc brake onto a front tire probably a lot easier than, you know. Where would I put this for this individual? Right here would be fucking perfect, actually. not ripping the reflector off and leaving the platform it was attached to on the bike gave me a platform to mount this light right here. So after the paint I just applied is done drying completely, then I can put and paint this light, let it dry, and then put it on the bike. Watching paint dry doesn't get funner than this. All sarcasm aside, though, Facebook. Those horns look pretty sweet. Oh, there's a section right there that I missed. It's on the body of the horn. Okay. So I don't have to get spray paint on. That's good. So they're not spray paint on those horns. Yeah, there's a little spot right there. There we go. And the plastic on the body of that air horn chemically reacting with spray paint and a little bit of nail polish. It might actually harden. When it dries enough to a point, I can put Mod Podge on just the body of the horn and where the button connects to the horn itself. And so when that dries, it'll just seal that air horn and it'll make it virtually almost impossible to take off. I'm not saying you couldn't without trying a little bit, but it'll make it so that bulb for the second horn is sealed better. So it honks louder, theoretically speaking. So the horns be silent for a moment until, and once the paint's done drying, I'm going to put a little bit of horn, just feel a little bit of horn. That's the alcohol talking. No, but seriously, I'm going to put just a pinch of Mod Podge on that air horn when it's done drying. I'll add that to the video on YouTube, customizing my bike, part 1, part 2, that sort of thing. It's a fun little bike to cruise on, but coaster brakes are hard on your bike, especially if you're, after time they will wear out. So it might be more expensive to get a handlebar brake installed for the front wheel, but it'll last longer, The important thing is I know the shop I'm taking it to, and it's the same people I bought it from. I mean, I've been customizing this this bike up here and there over the years, adding different things to it, and the point it's at right now is pretty sweet looking. It's a one of those Rat Fink 3-speed choppers with the massive ape hangers. The tires on it are like fucking thick as shit. And it's got a black and green paint job, green rims. And now the horns on it are basically black and green to match the frame of it. Now, when you take one of those horns that you can squeeze, it makes a little clown horn type noise. Putting straight paint on the bulb of that horn is weird because when it dries completely, it's going to crack a little bit when you squeeze it, but when it does, the color should still stay there without coming off on your fingers. So when you add spray paint to certain things, the dry time takes that much longer. But this right here is cool looking, man. I'm checking out a paint job on these horns, and yeah, that looks sick as shit. Now that I got those horns recolored, that definitely fits with the overall theme of said bike. Now, waiting for it to dry is a bitch, but the coaster brake's already popped out, so it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Riding it without a brake is just not a smart idea. Period. I mean, I could keep customizing it. I might even change out the handlebar grips for some nice black ones. Actually, no, fuck that. I'll keep up the grips that I have on there. Those are the original grips. I'll keep the original grips on there. It's just, I don't know. But getting a disc brake put on the front tire so that I could just squeeze it from the handlebar instead of pedaling backwards. It'll stop a lot harder. If that's even possible, it'd probably be a lot cheaper just to get the coaster brake replaced. To be brutally honest. I might just end up doing that instead because it'll be easier on the wallet. But yeah, I'll replace the coaster brake on it when I could just leave the bike light here when I take it to the shop tomorrow or later on today, I should say. I'll give that paint that I just applied to it enough time to dry. And while I put a coaster brake back on it, but you're basically paying for service and the replacement part, which isn't that much. The thing about cars and pedal bikes and what have you is you take them to the place you got them in the first place, and usually they'll offer some sort of repair service, you know. And mountain sports is quite literally one of the best places in town to get a bike. And looking at it, I see a spot right there where I messed with the green paint on the horns button. That's easy enough, just a quick. It's like shaving your face. You don't want to miss a spot. I ran out of 100 green classic. I got to list of colors. Where's that lighter green at? Here it is. Just to get that spot touched up, a splash of that one would be fine. Incorporate it to see what it looks like. There we go. Yes. Hold on a second. That's still pretty full, so why the fuck? Maybe I didn't shake it out enough. That's right. A burst of two different shades of green on that horns handle. That works. I don't care if it's, it's just the theme of the bike. That's weird. It's weird because I thought that Hunter Green was out. I gave it a shake and that don't sound out. Hold on a second. But there's enough green paint to cover that little spot. You get the spots that you're trying to touch up covered up. You know what I'm saying? It looks better when you're riding it around town. I'm just saying. Shit, I'm the one that bought the bike, so who gives a fuck if I'm spray painting it? I'm adding my own creative touch to it. And the horns on the bike are perfectly placed, but they were, I mean, the honker was already colored black and green, but the air horn, I might have gotten some more green paint on the honker just from respray painting the air horn, but I don't care because it quite honestly looks sick as fuck. I mean, if my mode of transportation is gonna let people know, hey, move the fuck out of the way. At least it'll look like it belongs on the bike. Of course, by the time the paint's done drying on both the nail paint and the spray paint on the horn's body, I may not even need Mod Podge, but I want to put a little bit of Mod Podge on the air horn's body just to make sure that the button and the trumpet don't come off. It'll make it look nicer on the bike. I love it when a plan of action comes together, Facebook. This is just good, clean entertainment right here. Let that drawing do its thing. People are stealing my Facebook Live videos and posting these to YouTube. The curiosity factor is already there. People are going to be like, ooh, I want to see what it looks like when it's done drying. You're not the only one. But that paint will get dry enough on the horns where it'll still be sticky, but it won't get all over the place. And that's when I can sit it back in the corner and let it continue drying for a couple more days. The weather's nice enough that, if I gotta walk somewhere, it ain't gonna be an issue. But I'd rather that paint dry before I take it to the bike shop, just in case, I don't want the bike shop workers getting paint all over their hands while working on it. It's just... Although for the sake of the bike, I'm probably just gonna leave these prongs the color they are. It'll take less time to dry. If I put painter's tape on the lens of the light and just spray paint the blue plastic all over, it'll fit the theme of the bike a lot better. And I haven't thought about doing this kind of thing until now. Which reattaching the lights in my bike is not going to be a problem. But the huge ass reflector that's already covered in paint out of the way, that little piece that held it on there, that'll make a nice little platform for the bike light, which you're not going to need a reflector during the daytime. If it's light enough outside, people are going to see that bike. If it gets to be a bit darker, though, it's not going to hurt to have something like this. Which, if you got a bike that runs on batteries, they just unscrew and pop back into place, Something like this is very convenient. Nothing against the color orange, but I wonder if I can take this orange ring off without it fucking up the lens. I mean, I could spray paint that lens orange piece a different color, but that would fuck with the lens. And orange makes it a bright color, which makes it easier to see at night. So for the sake of safety, I may just leave that orange piece on there. It should make the light easier to see at night when you're riding. But Steve gave me this bike light for my bike, and he's like, well, here, this might work. And I jerry-rigged it to my handlebars. And it's enough to help me ride safely at night, so I'm not breaking the law riding a bike at night without a light. They, if you're being smart about it, they probably won't give you a ticket for it, but it's better to be safe than sorry. They have enough street lights to illuminate the streets, but this is so other cars can see you when you're riding about if you have to. I've gotten some paint on my hands and my feet for customizing the bike, but that looks like a shit, totally worth it. I mean, the sound quality on those horns is perfect, but the color scheme, yeah, no, easy enough fix. But just making a video talking, oh hey, the wands are done. What kind of shit is that? That's not a video. Customizing my bike with an ASMR type style video. Now that Facebook is a video. Oh man, the smell of spray paint and nail polish, that's a gnarly combination. I'll suffer through it with the window open because that fucking bike looks fucking sick, man. Yeah. Now those horns actually look like they belong on the bike. The color scheme matches it. It looks nicer. How exactly does the batteries go in this type of thing? I think the lens pops out, if I'm not mistaken. Either the lens or the back here. Which, if it's your own bike light, it's good to get familiarized with it. So while that paint's drying, I'm gonna figure out how the batteries go in this thing, which is good to know, especially. And I won't fuck with it unless the batteries are dead because I want to break it. But at the same time, it feels like that this top half comes from this bottom half and I have to separate. Or if I remember correctly, I think Steve said the button comes off, maybe, no. If I can avoid having to replace a bike light, that'd be nice. No, it doesn't do anything. Maybe the lens pops out. No. Also, I could do when you get up the batteries dying. I don't know how to take it apart to change it. Shit. It's very easy to pretend that you're asexual just because you're tired of being rejected by women. But if you like pussy, don't deny yourself that. You're just going to be fucking miserable. Just gotta have more patience, and that's easier said than done sometimes. Doesn't mean you can't appreciate, I guess, what's out there, even if you can't have it. Case in point, you go to a car show. That's a nice car. It's not yours, but you can appreciate that it's a nice looking car, you know. Not trying to sound materialistic or nothing. Metaphorically speaking, I'm just saying. Oh, this is classic. I popped that lens out. Classic. The batteries even go in here. Is that just the light bulb? Look at that, Facebook. As soon as I tried to figure out where the batteries go, I popped the lens out here. And now it doesn't want to turn on. Is that how it works? No, shit. I think it might have just broke it. Classic. Now it doesn't want to turn on. Oh, that's great. it's already broken. Hold on a second. We could probably get a nice basic black bike light to go with the new shock or the new brake on the back. So this is one extra part we have to replace. God damn it. Fucking cheap ass shit. Huh. Now it's broken, it won't light. I'm still trying to figure out, okay, how the fuck were you supposed to put the batteries in? It's kind of irrelevant because it doesn't work, but it's the curiosity of the factor. All this time trying to figure out where the batteries go in. I mean, get the fuck out of there. Well, so much for that nonsense. It's kind of funny too, because I broke my coaster brake popped out of place, and coaster brakes should be too inexpensive to replace. I'll probably end up spending more money having to replace this thing, to be honest, but I'm sure I could find a black LED light that I can use for my bike. It'll look a lot. I guess it'll look, I'll find something that looks cool that's relatively not too inexpensive. As long as it's black and it's bright as fucking night. When I use it, that's all that matters. I don't care about how expensive it is. You know, it's kind of broken, so I think it's kind of irrelevant on whether or not you figure out how the batteries go in it, because it doesn't work. And the only thing you're going to satisfy at this point is the curiosity factor. Well, where did the batteries go after all? In this case, in point, it doesn't matter. Yet another classic example of shit happens. And this right here, YouTube and Facebook, this is small shit. I mean, I took it off to customize my bike anyway, so maybe it was meant to happen. And they make battery-powered headlights for your bike that look like motorcycle lights. I've seen them. Like, you unscrew the back and put the batteries in, that sort of thing. It would definitely fit the style of the bike a lot better. But that would require getting the second half of that broken reflector chunk off. And that's going to be a tedious task in itself, because there's tape around it. But I'll get to that in a second. This hunk of junk is going to have to get thrown away. It's not a hunk of junk, to be fair. It lasted me a long time. My dumb ass forgot how to put the batteries in. And out of curiosity, I ended up breaking it to find that out. So, yeah. Although it's easy to blame technology when we make mistakes, it feels less harsh on ourselves, I suppose. Really, all you can do is smoke a cigarette and get over it, because that's this, you know, Facebook. This, yeah. And there's a splash of that in my flask that's nice and cold. What are we looking at for this little chunk? Screws right there. Oh, this is a screw right there. Okay. So I may not have to spend a shit ton of time peeling off tape if I feel around put the screws on that little chunk of plastic, I can get that off. That way when I go to replace the headlight, there's room for it. I mean, to be fair, the coaster brake was already fucked up, so I guess the Cobra Cruiser's getting a makeover or a new paint job here and there. There was a huge scratch on the paint job going down the bike on the top half of the frame. You see black and green and just a couple of white streaks, and I'm like, the fuck? No. Shh. Away with you. It's a fun bike to ride around town. You know what I'm saying? Facebook, there's times when I'll ride the bike just for the hell of it, not because I have to go anywhere, you know. Especially if the weather's nice. It's good to get out and cruise, you know. And I was being a responsible rider, too. I wasn't getting too drunk and riding. Limiting myself so that I'm not being stupid with it. And just as a safety precaution, the coaster brake decides, oh, I'm going to pop off. But I ended up riding it home safely without a brake and without being stupid and swerving all over the place. And people have this common misguided conception that, oh, okay, that if you drink, you're going to be swerving all over the place. I think if you go past your limit and you can drink socially and not be shit-faced, you know, unless you're at home safely and you're not driving, then that's a different story altogether. I'm not going to need a drill for it, too, by the feel of it. Looks like all I'm going to need is a Phillips. My drill bit seems a bit overkill for screws that time. And screw for that. Cheap ass motherfucker. Maybe I'll shed some light on that situation. Use my phone for this. Wait a second, the bottom of the screw is right. Maybe it's right here. The top of the screw, I mean, I put the top of the screw on the bottom of it. How much you want to bet? That's what it feels like. Yeah, there we go. My second guess proved correct, Facebook. Oh, yeah. And that Phillips screwdriver is just the right size for it. Even better. Get the fuck out of here, you piece of shit. Shit, nasty shit. Ah, there we go. Now they got that chunk off the bike that needed to come off, that chunk of broken reflector. There's tape that was underneath it. Now I'm going to peel it all off. At the particular moment, as long as, yeah, there we go. Get that broken piece picked up. Now there's what was holding the reflector. This piece was holding the reflector to the bike. Put the screw in my toolbox and put this junk right here in the trash. You never know when you're going to need a screw. It might come in handy when you least expect it, so hold on to that shit. I'll put it in one of my drawers. And there's areas of tape where the horns are sitting. There's a little bit of tape holding those two horns together on the side with the zip ties. Those are areas where I can put the Mod Podge especially, so that way it becomes this giant cluster of horn on the side. So if I wanted to like clean it up just a bit, all the tape that I don't need on there can come right off. I mean, at this point, this would be a bit OCD, but you know. Ain't nothing wrong with working on your bike. Ain't nothing wrong with working on the bike, YouTube. But get the fuck off of that shit. Yeah, no, that tape's not coming off. You know what, fuck it. This little loop of tape is so minuscule, it's not hurting anything. It's just a little OCD thing. But I got that broken reflector is off the bike. And the horns are repainted. And then when the horn section on my bike is dry, I'll start adding Mod Podge to it to make it more solid. That'll be a YouTube video, Mod Podging the bike horns. Dun dun dun. All jokes aside, though, that wasn't really a joke. That was just lame, trying to make it sound spooky. But really, it's no one cares. You're customizing your bike to make it look cooler for you. Some people are gonna care. Some people are gonna be like, "End your point." How long is this Facebook video? An hour long. Damn. I could finish this flask on camera. Fuck it. I ain't gonna make another one after this, that's for sure. Cause like, dude. I mean, that little basic encounter right there with the bike, shit like that, taking it apart, putting it back together, that's life in a nutshell. Shit breaks, you gotta replace it. Shit gives you shit, so you gotta deal with it. And I wasn't about to walk it home unless I had to. But when I discovered, okay, it still pedals, but you can't use the brake, this ought to be fun. I could do at that point was, oh, you cheap ass motherfucker. And that was the extent of it. You know what I'm saying? Facebook. Like, that right there is life and its unpredictability at its finest. But I've gotten some pain in my fingers and some pain on my feet, but it's totally freaking worth it. That shit comes off, no problem. But at least now, the horn section of my bike will be, it'll look like it actually belongs in the bike a bit more. Sound wise, yes, it belongs, but not aesthetically wise, definitely. And think about it, like nail polish works just like any other paint, theoretically speaking. And it's another reason why I'm putting Mod Podge on the body of the air horn so that the paint job I put on it doesn't come off. And that's just, you know, common sense, but I figure some people are going to be like, why the fuck are you putting Mod Podge on your bike horns? You weird autistic spaz. Wow. Funny you ask that. Because if it starts raining outside, that Mod Podge will protect the paint from coming off. I mean, when it's dry enough, it ain't going to come off anyway, but with nail polish, rain could wash that shit away. I'm just saying. And repainting your bike horns on a short notice when you're damn near out of both colors you want to use. I mean, that's the appeal of it, really. That did visually exactly what I wanted it to do, especially given that that shit was short notice. Yo, this cruiser looks bad to the fuck to the bone. I can dig it. So now that I'm home and I'm not riding anywhere for a good minute because that bike's drying, and you know, you want to set a reasonable limit within reason when you're drinking and driving. You shouldn't do it, period. But if you're not staggering when you're walking to get up, take your bike out of someone else's pad and you carry the bike out of the pad without stumbling downstairs or dropping the bike or making an ass of yourself, then generally speaking, you should be good enough to ride a straight line home. That's just, you know. Watching paint dry doesn't get much funner than this. Just kidding. That's a joke about how small Casper is, but you know, a Casper's fun if you have money and you know people to hang out with. Or good people, you know what I'm saying? But Casper is just like any other fucking town. You meet some shady motherfuckers and it's like, oh, dude. And shady motherfuckers make you not want to trust people anymore, like, or at least for the most part. When it comes to the dating scene, this is some solid advice, Facebook. When it comes to the dating scene, make like a cobra, wait for the right time to strike. That's cliche and cheesy as fuck, but it's the goddamn truth. A cobra doesn't want to waste its venom, so it waits for the right time to strike. And metaphorically speaking, that makes sense. With the dating scene, you don't want to waste your time dealing with stupid people, getting rejected, getting your heart stomped on like a cigarette butt. People using you for money and sex and all that stupid shit. Treating your dating like it's a cell phone, like it's a social status, like, oh look, just like a car, or the likes on my Instagram post, or this and that. No, fuck that shit. You don't want to waste your time dating with the wrong people, just like cobras don't want to waste their venom. So sometimes when it comes to dating, like I said, you gotta know when to strike. And when you have a smaller town, for the dating scene, you have to be a bit more cunning. Otherwise, you make yourself look stupid and desperate. Trust and believe. There's nothing worse than making yourself look stupid and desperate on the dating scene. And if you can avoid that humiliation by being able to act accordingly based off of a couple of simple things like people observing, but doing it to where you don't look like you're staring at people like, huh? Hey, what are you doing? Because nobody likes getting stared at. But if you're an attractive person, you're going to get stared at. That's the unfortunate reality of life. Is I'm sure there's a lot of attractive chicks who hate getting stared at, but it comes with the territory, all disgusting puns aside. You may get hit on by some people you don't find attractive, but at least you're attractive, you know. If I get hit on by people I don't find attractive, I take it as a compliment, even if they're not my type. You know, letting them down gently the first time. And the second time, they're more persistent on asking me out. And the second time, I'm more persistent. By the third or fourth time, I'm like, listen, I already told you no the first fucking time. You know what I'm saying? And usually I try to be nice about it because I know how it is. When you want to ask out somebody you find attractive, working up the courage to do it is not easy. So if the person's nice about it, I'm going to be nice about it. But if they're more persistent, then I'm going to be more persistent. It comes down to the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. I try not to pick a fight with people because I don't want drama in my life. So why start drama with somebody else? But if people treat me like shit, then I assume that's how they want to be treated. So I treat them the way they want to be treated. It's the golden rule. I treat others the way I want to be treated. So I try to be courteous. And if I don't like somebody, I put up with it the best I can without causing too much shit. You know what I'm saying? But if other people want me to treat them like shit, then okay, I can do that. But believe me, you don't want me to treat you like shit. I don't need my magic. Or excuse me, I meant to say I don't need my guns or my muscles or any of that to fuck somebody up. I have my magic. That's what I tried to say, but I got a little tongue twisted, which is a natural human mistake. Everybody gets tongue twisted. Articulating your speech to a point where it's understandable. But here's the thing: it doesn't matter if you articulate your speech or not. It's just one more thing for the trolls to give you shit about. And fuck the trolls. It doesn't matter if you have cancer or this and that. None of that fucking matters. Trolls are just the absolute worst. They'll make fun of you for anything. And that's why I created the shirt, the Troll Slayer shirt that I posted on Teespring just recently. It's like wearing it, you get a sense of saying, yeah. That's why the tombstone says Troll Slayer on it, and the peace sign is flipped upside down to represent a war against online bullying and trolls and stupidity and that sort of thing. And for such a, you know, I guess call it a complex message, the shirt came out with a very simple and yet elegant design it's, you know, at first I was kind of iffy on it, but then I was looking at it after I posted it a couple hours later that same day, and I'm like, zooming in on the back of it, I'm like, okay, that didn't turn out half bad. And also to commemorate Troll Slayer on the new album, so it has multiple meanings for it. I mean, the front of it has my symbol with the cobra wrapped around it. The back of it has this tombstone with skulls on either side of the cross, and these angel wings on it, or wings of death, whatever you want to call it. And there's a scroll that runs across the tombstone, and they leave that graphic blank. So if you want to add stuff to it, you can. And I picked a nice fancy font, and then I evened it so where it looks decent enough. Because if I made that font too big, I wanted to make that font fit and that scroll work going across that graphic. And using a thicker line on the graphic, but not too thick. So, you know what I'm saying? And, well, shit, if I like it and I'd wear it, then I know my fans would. And that's all that counts. This is how I can get my hustle on, man. Selling wands and merchandise and that sort of thing. Life's a fucking hustle, YouTube and Facebook. Never forget that. And I've made money selling merchandise that I custom make for my fans and what have you. I've definitely made money selling wands. So if these are things that I know make me money, then I'm going to continue using them. That's just common sense. I'm even autistic who likes to enjoy a drink every now and then, but even I know a little bit of common sense goes a long way. Common sense is like the spice in a food. If it's too spicy, you'll burn the fuck out of your tongue. But in this case, too much common sense, you're overthinking shit, and it makes life miserable. But a little bit goes a long way. Fucking metaphors, this guy. Everybody likes, okay, I shouldn't say everybody. Some people like a little bit of heat with their food, but if it's too spicy, you can't eat it. If you're constantly overthinking shit, and you spend your entire life, you know what I'm saying, doing that sort of thing, there's common sense and then there's overthinking it. If you spend your whole life overthinking shit, you're going to be a miserable son of a bitch. Common sense is the spice to the flavoring of life. A little bit goes a long way. If you spend your entire life overthinking shit, you're not going to enjoy life. Just like if you over-season your food, you may not enjoy it. You know, I mean, that's just the way I try to look at it. That could just be the alcohol talking, but no, while I proceeded to bitch about the shortcomings of my bike falling apart, but doing so in a way that didn't make me look completely overreacting and ungrateful. I thought, well, okay, if the coaster brakes fall apart, then might as well work on it a bit while you can. And noticing that after I spray painted the fucking, that whole thing, this whole fucking video, man, is life in a nutshell. Things fall apart, so you fix them and make them better, or work with your circumstances. Now, granted, I've had that bike for a couple of years, and there have been bikes in the past that fall to shit to where they're unfunctionable after 1 year. I've had this bike for several years, and this is the first time the coaster brake is broken on me. This is a well-built bike, and because it's so big, it's given me a canvas to customize and work on. And spray painting and adding tape here and there, and working with certain things like I intend to do. Now, once the paint's done drying on the horn section, I add Mod Podge to it here and there. It's going to make this giant clump of two horns solidify so that it ain't coming off the bike unless you have to like physically fuck with it and poke at it, you know. But this is using common craft items, because once that Mod Podge dries, all the paint that I put on the sections of those horns is going to be solid as fuck, and it ain't coming off. Because if someone wanted to, they could have very easily taken the horn on the air horn and unscrewed the bulb, the push button that, because there are some air horns that require CO2. This dollar store air horn that I bought is reusable by the simple fact that it uses the science of pressure and a button that releases when you push down on it and release back up. And the pressure from the air is forced through the body of the air horn and out the bulb of it, causing the very high pitched. And let me tell you, that fucker's loud. Most of the time, if dogs start barking at me and they won't shut the fuck up, I'll honk my air horn at them when I'm riding by, just to let them know, hey, I can be loud and obnoxious too. Generally speaking, I'm cool with dogs, but if I got some yapping toy dog barking his brains out at me when I'm trying to ride my bike, it's like, okay, that's just annoying. I can be annoying too. And there are some dogs that I've heard that air horn and they hate that shit. They're like, oh, dude, no. And some dogs get the idea. As soon as they stop barking, I stop honking the horn. Yeah, I don't fuck with dogs, generally speaking, but, I'm not going to take shit from some ankle biter. I'm not going to get physical with them. But psychologically, I don't know. Sometimes I don't do that shit because the owners might be like, hey, man, why are you fucking with my dog? I'm like, excuse me, I was just honking my horn. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I wear a dog collar, man. I'm totally down with dogs, man. Man's best friend. I wasn't fucking with them. I don't know what you're talking about. Play it off like that. In my defense, at least it's not a dog whistle. If I had a fucking dog whistle that I carried with me while riding my bike, that would just be a dick move. I wouldn't hear it, but they would. Just... In my defense, I could be like, no, these are horns on my bike that I use for communication that lets pedestrians in front of me know that, hey, I'm pretty good about riding my bike around town. If I'm riding on the sidewalk, I haven't hit anybody, which is a good thing. And if people are being slow and not paying attention, I'll honk my horn to let them know I'm coming around. And if they're still not moving, then I'll slow my bike down. And this is just one of those, okay, work with the circumstances. And then once I have a clear shot, boom, I'm around that person. And sometimes people, they're like, whoa, oh, hey. Sometimes when you're riding your bike around town, people aren't paying attention, and at least you are. And if you're paying attention, you sneak around them, and people are like, whoa. They jump for a second, like they didn't see you. And it's like, okay, if you're honking your horns, dinging your bell, and people aren't paying attention, that just makes me wonder about our society. Facebook. It's like the metalhead hippie guy who drinks and has a good time can pay more attention than most of society. That's kind of sad. I'm just saying. Not for me, but for the people around me who aren't paying attention. I understand if money's tight, but here's the thing. Paying attention don't cost you a motherfucking thing. I can drink to that. The nice thing about paying attention, it's free. It don't cost you jack shit. And sometimes paying attention can benefit you. And this is as a crude example. Like, say, for example, you're looking for some tail and you're at a bar hanging out with friends. And if you pay attention just right, you can observe and see which chicks are available and which chicks aren't. And you can do it without act like you're looking. If you can do it without acting like you're scoping, just scope without giving away that you're scoping. That is an art form, and I'm trying to perfect it myself, and I've gotten a little bit better at it. But if you notice that you walk by a chick and she starts talking to you, and you're like, oh, this chick's cute. Oh, if the chick approaches you, dude, that's all it takes. That's all it fucking takes. If you're a decent enough guitar player, you can use cheesy-ass pickup lines. Hey, baby, you like guitar players? I'd rock your world. That's cheesy and funny, but that only works if you're a decent guitar player. I may not know a whole lot of songs, but I shred that shit like a bad mamba jamba. So I'm good enough at guitar that I can use that pickup line without it sounding desperate. Like, oh, Because what if she likes guitar players legitly and she gets a chuckle out of that? Oh, that's funny. Oh, can I hear you play guitar? Oh, sure. You take her home to your place to play guitar. And if you're a horrible guitar player, your whole plan just backfires. Two things could happen. One, she could be like, you kind of lied to me there. You're trying to sound all witty with your guitar playing and you suck at it. Fuck this noise. And she leaves. Or two, she might be like, well, you know what? Points for trying. She might get a chuckle out of it. You might get somewhere with it. I mean, that's life in a nutshell. Most things, and most situations in life can either go one of two ways. That's just as true as assholes ruin it for everybody. Killing time to bust a rhyme, spray paint my bike, it's like goddamn coaster breaks out. Drink orange juice and be healthy so you don't contract gout. Who cares what your job is, even if it's just a paper route? Busting a mad flow off the top of my head. Dating scene in the small town sucks. Sometimes it feels like it's dead. But this society's corrupt. Don't let it fuck with your head. Oh. I might get a fucking Facebook ban just for speaking the truth. Geez, I hope not. And wouldn't that be something like, oh, your drinking was a bit excessive on this live video, so we're going to give you a ban because Facebook doesn't promote drug use. Bitch, please, alcohol is legal. So is tobacco. They can't be like, oh, well. And that's happened in the past, Facebook, believe it or not. I've smoking tobacco out of my pipe, and lo and fucking behold, they're like, oh, well, we suspect you were doing this and that, so we're going to give you a ban. And you can try fighting it, but there's nothing you can do once the ban's been in place, unless you have legitimate proof that says you weren't doing it. I mean, to be fair, people see a goth with long hair smoking tobacco out of a pipe, and the immediate speculation is that it's pot or some shit like that. And like, of all the things, and even if it was, who gives a flying rat's Asperger's, man? Even if it was, who gives a flying rat's Asperger's? Or I'm smart enough to go, okay, you know what? It's not quite legal in Wyoming just yet, but it's legal in Colorado. So if I wanted to bring a pipe to smoke with me in Colorado, and something that I could smoke tobacco out of when I'm leaving, you know what I'm saying? If you take a tobacco pipe with you to Colorado and smoke out of that. And when you're traveling back across the line with it, make sure there's no weed in it. Put your tobacco in it and smoke tobacco through it. All that weed resin turns to tobacco resin. And then technically speaking, they go to check you at the border. Well, you're not doing anything illegal. You're not sneaking anything. They check all your shit. You ain't got shit on you. What the hell is this? Oh, that's a tobacco pipe, officer. I smoke tobacco out of a pipe because cigarettes are expensive. Oh, I get that. And fucking sniffs it. Depending on if the person hates tobacco, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's tobacco. Oh, I hate that smell. Yeah, here you go. Or if they're a smoker, or if they enjoy the pipe occasionally, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's tobacco. Strangely enough, that happened to me at something like that happened to me at Fort Laramie over here in Wyoming. Now my grandmother is part of a horse trotting group here in Wyoming, and she was doing a show at Fort Laramie with her horse trotting group. So me and my family come down to Fort Laramie to show support. And my patriotic ass, I bring my acoustic guitar to play the national anthem, walking around jamming out on my acoustic guitar on a hot summer's day. And I'm sitting there playing the national anthem and the acoustic guitar, smoking my tobacco pipe, just enjoying myself, supporting my family. I walk over to the Fort Laramie gift shop, and they have all these clay pipes. They have one called the Lucifer pipe. They had a Victoria pipe, and they had a Lucifer pipe, all these different clay pipes. I bought the Lucifer pipe, and I was smoking tobacco out of it. And people were telling the cops at Fort Laramie, there's a suspicious character who's smoking pot out of a clay pipe. And the cop stopped me and he goes, "So what you got there?" And I'm like, "It's tobacco, officer." I showed him my ID. He's like, "Well, you're definitely old enough to buy tobacco." I showed him the tin. He goes, "Well, that's tobacco. I've ever did smell it. I enjoy the pipe every now and then. Sorry to harass you. I just got a report from people saying there was suspicious activity. And, you don't see too many people smoking a pipe. I enjoy the pipe every now and then. You have a nice day." I'm like, "Thanks, you too." I'm like, "Really? Have these people never smelled weed before?" I've been to Colorado. I know what weed smells like. Weed and tobacco smell different. Like, I'm over here in Fort Laramie this one time trying to support my family and have a nice 4th of July. I went to a bomb-ass parade earlier that day, saw a bunch of classic cars. So I was in a good mood. And that shit, I was like, "Really?" Now I still have that pipe. I keep it on my altar with all my other shit next to that pipe that my fan made me, the black and green one. You can smoke out of a clay pipe, but they're kind of a bitch jaw and clog unless you have a paper clip because you can't unscrew the stem. With a wooden pipe, you can unscrew the stem, which is a more modern convenience. But when pipe smoking first became a thing, people would smoke out of pipes that were carved out of stone, wood, and clay, and they were often one solid piece. And then later they discovered you could use vulcanite, which is a form of plastic, to make pipe stems, and the rest is history. I'm the one riding my bike, and I'm the one that says, "You know what? That cluster of horn is going to look cool when it's done." That's all that fucking matters. Now, there are two sides to every coin, Facebook and YouTube. The front light breaking on my bike, that sucks. But that's opportunity to get a cooler light for it. I mean, really, that's the best way to look at it. That flask is empty. That's enough for at least a couple of hours. I don't need to sit there and be smashed 24/7. I don't got the kind of money for that. And even if I had the money to be smashed 24/7, what's the point? What kind of shallow life would it be to be drunk 24/7? That kind of defeats the purpose of having fun getting drunk, is because you don't do it very often, or you don't get to do it very often, one of the two. Anybody who says, "Mr. Saunders, you have a problem with drinking," after what I just said, I would highly disagree. Because alcohol can get you high. You see what I did there? I made a horrible pun about being tipsy, and it was a stretch, but I went for it. What's Michael Jackson's favorite cigarette? A Marlboro Smooth. Oh. Get it, Smooth Criminal. God damn it. That was so horrible. That joke was so bad. It belonged on nachos because that's how cheesy it was. These motherfuckers. I want to end this live stream here in a bit, but I don't want to be on here too terribly long. But long enough to make a decent enough video. This is definitely freaking long enough. But I wanted to make an announcement on Facebook saying those of you who ordered the second batch of wands, they're in the process of being shipped as we speak. Be paying attention for the next couple of weeks. People should be getting their wands in the next couple of weeks as they ship out. I like to keep my peeps updated, especially for those of you who ordered a Cobra Craft wand. It's good to keep your customers informed. When it comes to my merchandise on Teespring or Customized Girl or my custom wands, I let my fans do the advertising. Who else will be better to give you advertising than your own customers. People buy my products and they advertise it for free. It works out to very, very nicely, YouTube and Facebook. Now, most of my Facebook videos, I'm playing someone else's music. Then people on YouTube can't steal it because of copyright issues. But videos like this where I can't legally play music because of how late it is, without some sort of copyright infringement. I just avoid copyright infringement on YouTube, but because of how late it is, I'm not playing music. So this is a video people could steal from my Facebook Live, and they wouldn't get a strike on their channel. But there's been videos where I do vocal covers, and I might do a vocal cover every other video. That way, they can't steal all of my Facebook Live videos. Which, when your videos are so popular on social media that people will steal it from one platform just to upload it to another platform. That's kind of flattering in a way, even if they do it without my permission. I got a good feeling about this next batch of wands that I just shipped out. I have a feeling customers are going to be thrilled with their purchase. And happy customers make more customers because people are going to be seeing how happy they are with their purchase. And they're going to be like, well, shit, I want one. And any customer who's happy with their purchase is automatically a potential return customer. That's just business 101. You make the customers happy, then, you know, I may be a goth, hippie, metalhead looking person, but I respect my elders and I'm a hard worker for the most part. I mean, I do slack off on occasion, but that's just human nature. At least I don't slack off when I'm not supposed to. That's gotta count for something. Even if it counts for nothing, Facebook. This is the kind of random crap that happens to me within the course of a couple hours. And I like sharing this kind of stuff on Facebook and social media because it helps people relate to me. And if you think you're having a bad day, it could be worse. I mean, okay, so the coaster brake pops out of place riding home from a friend's house. It could be worse. It's easily fixable. Sometimes in life, situations you have where you struggle are easily fixable, but it helps not to overthink shit and try to see a logic and reasonable plan for fixing your situation. If I want a girlfriend, then I gotta work on my temper and get bigger muscles and work on getting a driver's license. If I work on my temper, I have a bit more confidence in myself and get my driver's license. I wouldn't say it guarantee it instant results, but it would help. You know, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be able to afford to drive my car all the time, but you know, if I want any sort of cool car to drive, I'm gonna need to get my driver's license first. Because technically speaking, I can't drive the car if I don't have a license. You can work on a car while you're getting your driver's license, yes, but you can't drive it unless you got the license. If I go to a bar and I drive my car there and I have a couple drinks at the bar and I don't want to drive, I'll chill out in my car until I'm good to drive. That's just being a responsible driver. The same logic applies to showing off my car at a hot rod show. Anyways, Facebook, videos coming up on my YouTube. We're doing a GTA 5 video later on, and halfway through doing that, I might film. If I start the video with it propped up against the hookah, then the video won't be horizontal. And while the PS3 is loading, I could be like, oh, by the way, I'm customizing my bike. The coaster breaks out, so while it's being replaced, I figured I'd do some work on it. cosmetically to make it look sick as fuck. The kind of shit you don't need a fucking degree and some tech school to fucking do. Spray painting and putting Mod Podge doesn't require tech training. The only reason I'm even thinking about putting Mod Podge on that tape and on the paint on certain areas of that clump of horn is because it works so well with the wands. So let's see if it has multiple uses, which I'm sure it will, but I'm not going to put Mod Podge on it until the paint's done drying. Excuse me, drying. Now that paint should be dry enough to where it's not going to drip anywhere. Wait, I got the hiccups. Water usually takes care of that shit. Usually. Unless you have persistent hiccups. I want to make sure that paint that I put on the horns is dry enough before I put it back in the corner. That's why I'm keeping it on that black tarp. There's 2 layers of cloth underneath my bike so that any paint that drips off the horns drips onto the cloth and doesn't hit the carpet. By painting my wands, I can usually stick the trash can underneath the vice clamp and the paint drips off into the trash can with the tarp underneath it. But for a bigger project like customizing or painting a bike, you're going to need the whole fucking tarp. That's just a fact of life. That way I can avoid getting paint on the carpet at all costs. Which, if that does happen, mineral spirits, soap, hot water, and scrubbing it up, and then vacuuming up the wet spot until it's dry usually takes care of it. Sometimes you shampoo the carpet and like the paint stains don't come out. And considering that I custom paint shit sometimes, there's like no major humongously obnoxious paint stains on the carpet, all that shit. Dude, all things considered, the carpet looks good. And the nice thing about Facebook Live videos is that, you know, they don't have the same restrictions that YouTube has. I mean, the restrictions are still the same. I can't flash my penis on Facebook, which would be a great way to pick up chicks, but no, not on Facebook. That just get me in trouble. Rockstar like me's got to fucking behave myself. That's definitely enough sipping for the next couple of hours. Anyways, Facebook, thank you for watching this live stream. Well, like I said, the wands are being shipped. My bike's broken and being fixed and customized. And, you know, I'll catch you cool cobras on the flip side.